Okay, so I'm going to quickly go over this as much as possible. Normally this video would take like an hour and a half or at least an hour. But I'm going to try to get through it a lot quicker. Since we're SEO people, we don't need to have all this explained to us in detail. But here we go. So the main point here is to kind of give you an idea. This is how I normally do things. And then I take the output of this, the results of this audit, and then put together a plan. I do have concerns about the timeline, as I've stated when we talked, even more now that I've done the audit. Like, it's just going to be really, really tight. I'm not sure it can all get done. Like, I don't know what's been worked out beforehand, if that date can be extended in any way. Like, I don't know the business ramifications and all that, blah, blah, blah. But I just want to say that up front. So, okay. So, this is just a note. Explain proximity, relevance, prominence. From a local SEO point of view, what matters is proximity, how close the searcher is to the business. So if they search for Port Authority and they're in Florida, they're going to get the Florida one, not the Alabama one. How relevant is it and how prominent is it? Now, the Alabama Port Authority is obviously very prominent, right? It's like a major government institution, right? Thing I need to know is I really am not clear what keywords we're trying to rank for. Like, you're not having a hard time ranking for Alabama Port Authority or the Port of Mobile. So what are we trying to rank for? That's what we need to hone in on. So we need to get that. This is very important for me to get answered so we can do even more analysis. So we're trying to like grab people that are searching for, ship international containers or whatever those words are. What are those action words? What are those words that have that transactional intent? So this is my GPT that we've talked about. This is for building landing pages, okay? Or service pages, you could say. So you give it the keyword. So you give it what you're selling and then the location. So if you're a plumber, or you'd be like plumber Boston or fix bathroom sink Boston. Here, I'm just doing Alabama Port Authority, Alabama, right? So it'll still give us some good feedback. So what I noticed on the page, first of all, you want to have a good structure to a page, right? Like this page doesn't have any H1s at all. So this clearly should be an H1 here, and this isn't really a good H1 because it says reliable, capable, connected, but what does that mean, right? From an algorithm point of view, that's just kind of generic. What keywords are we trying to focus on? That should be in the H1. And then the port of mobile, that's good to have the port of mobile. Is it mobile? My brain's dead. I've been staring at this web page for the last 3 hours. My brain's kind of dead. We're into the port of mobile element. Let's just say mobile. We need to add more text here. I would focus on more of why. So it's not really what we are, it's why. Like, what separates the port, if you're competing with Florida and you're competing with Mississippi, I don't remember the competition that I was given, and we'll go through that. What makes you guys different? Like, if I wanted to ship, and I'm assuming like I have no experience in this industry, obviously, if I was choosing to maybe, ship my, shipments, and I'm looking for a port to go from, what makes you different? That's what you need to highlight on, right? So this is just, it's not really good. It needs to be an H1, and it's not very good. So we'll get into a lot more detail on that. So back to here, you can see, and this is just a lot of stuff. This is a recommended title. So if you look at there, and we'll get into the page titles more below when we do go through Screaming Frog, the page title is not any good right now. This is a good page title. Welcome to the Alabama Port Authority, Gateway to Global Trade. That's a good little buzzword, like a little, like a catchy marketing type of thing. Subtitle, driving economic growth and connectivity for Alabama and beyond. That's something you can consider putting right here, right? Of course, we'd have to go through all that. Call to action. I don't like the call to action because it says learn more, but it's not really, it's okay, but I don't know. I would expect it to go to like a contact us page. Not horrible, but so we got a good image, introduction, briefly we don't do a good job of introducing the Alabama Port Authority. Don't have a lot of key statistics, if I remember correctly, on the home page. Oh, we do here. Yeah, that's right. We do have this little counter. I thought this was on a sub page. This is not bad. It's got pretty good keywords on here, but let's keep going. It needs to be optimized for sure. Services offered. So what we need to do from the very beginning, and I'm not going to say in my opinion every time. I'm just going to say what we need to do, and then we can talk about this. We need to find out what are their main service offerings. So right now they have capabilities, connectivity, cargo, distribution. There's a lot of cargo, so should all these be on separate pages, right? Now, if you go to like port Let's do Mississippi State Port Authority. These all have different procurement. Okay, that's something different. Okay, maybe it's the Florida one, which was really good. Florida, Jacksonville Port Authority, parking directions, procurement, cargo. Here we go. Look at all this stuff. These are all. And I didn't go through each one of these, obviously, but do we need to go this far in depth? I don't think so. But like break bulk, I don't even know what that means, but I see it a lot when I was doing my research. However, if you go to our page, I don't think we do have it here, but it's a sub page. So we need to get if they want to keep the flow of the website the way it is, that's good. But I think based on other keywords we're finding, like warehousing, distribution, customs, and security service, I don't think they have customs and security services on their page. Other websites do, and we'll get into that as we go along. As you can see, this part of an audit, like this is, I'm speeding through this. This would take me normally a couple weeks to get a definitive plan. So doing this in 2 hours and me saying, I think, I know, maybe, blah, 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 it's not really that good. So unfortunately, I don't think we have the luxury of 2 weeks, but you guys might be more familiar with the business. Then obviously I know nothing about this stuff. So you can see it's just good ideas. Now, this is one of the most powerful things you can do from an SEO point of view as a business, is not just about us, but why us. Because if I'm looking to, I'm just going to use the example of ship my goods to, Japan for business. This is if you go to every Port Authority website, it's all the same kind of stuff. We've done, economic value. We have railways, roads, capabilities. Well, but why? But what makes you better? This is the kind of stuff I need to understand. It needs to be worded a lot differently. This is pretty good, but I think I would maybe like to see these expanded upon more. Access to 9 railroads, and you get into the railroads more, I think, in the connectivity section. But I would like to see these as little blurbs here with better keywords. And also, when you're mentioning one of your services here, like connectivity, here, okay, you do have the Learn More button here, capabilities. So what happens when I click here? It should go to the main capabilities page, distribution. So maybe there wasn't. Okay, so we need to have, does this go to distribution? We have capabilities, we have connectivity, but we don't have the distribution section. So the point is, I would like to spend time, which I know we don't have, but ideally this is what needs to be done. We need to go through of the main competitors, and I got about 5 of them. They have a bunch of other services listed that we don't have listed, and I'm sure we offer them, or perhaps they're worded a little differently, and that's the kind of stuff we should consider adding on the page. Because these are all things people are searching on. Okay, I'm talking too much. I need to go through this a lot quicker. So there's just a bunch of ideas, okay? Knowledge graph, suggested titles, suggested meta descriptions, top keywords, container shipping. You can imagine that's probably one of the main things people search on is container shipping Alabama. So we need to create a lot of content around container shipping Alabama. Logistic services, we need to do more on that. Warehousing, etc., international trade, blah, blah, blah. These are NLP entities, so from an AI point of view, similar stuff. So these are H1 ideas. I really like that. It's like your focus on like global trade. I really like that. It really ties in the global aspect of it to Alabama. H2s, H3s, H4s, and this, we can go in these a lot more detail. We're not. It's always good to have people also ask and frequently asked questions here on the home page and every page, actually, because that's the kind of stuff that you could show up like as a rich snippet as well. Common words that appear together. So this is the kind of stuff we would include in our content. We want to do AI images, blah, 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 blah. So niche ideas are unique angles. So you actually get really good information from this little piece. Sustainability and shipping. There needs to be more emphasis. It's a big buzzword now is the whole green economy, right? Whether you like it or not, if you support it or not, it is a big thing. So there needs to be more mention, because you can imagine somebody searching for, these might not be the right keywords, green friendly shipping containers to Japan or whatever those keywords might be. We need to emphasize that on the website. Economic driver, that's interesting. Technology focus, energy industry, I would do more on customs and compliance. This is all interesting stuff. So the big thing that stuck out over and over again as I was doing more research was the sustainability stuff. And we'll get into port history, et cetera, et cetera. So content ideas related to this topic: Alabama's Port Authority's role in boosting statewide exports. So these are just content ideas, okay? And then some generic advice, which is good stuff. So that gives us some good, solid information from AI. Now I did there's another AI that I created, another AI bot. Does a basic competitor analysis between. So I said, this is my website. And I said, these are 3 ports we're competing with. And you can see, these are things that we need to put in an action. If you guys agree, you can just read through those. Competitors like Texas Ports and Jax Ports emphasize their significant economic impact. Texas Ports mentions a contribution of blah, blah, blah. Adding detailed economic impact, job support, blah, blah, blah. So we do that a little bit, but it's something we want to do more. Again, we could go in this with a lot more detail. This is what I keep seeing over and over again. Sustainability initiatives. Highlighting environmentally, sustainably dredging practices. Because you want to create... This is the stuff people are searching on. So if you don't create the content assets or the content pieces that people are actually searching on, you're never going to show up in the search results. Texas Ports and Jax Ports feature comprehensive breakdowns of the key parts of exports, such as automobiles. So I think that would be really cool. Now, that's not something you can do overnight. That's something you would need to talk to the client with and get their buy-off on it, obviously. They rank high for keywords like cargo tonnage, economic impact of ports. So this is interesting. Like, this seems to be coming up over and over again. The emphasis of talking about the economic impact of the port. Strategic military ports. So there's any military stuff we could put on there. Jack's using interactive maps. So you can read through all this stuff. This is something we just need to go and put this on a list if it's something we need to do. Case studies, success stories, obviously, is really, really important. They have a more cleaner, intuitive navigated interface with direct access to key sections like blah, 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 and I agree with that. So, a lot of good stuff there, too. Okay, local grid, local Falcon. I didn't even do this because I don't know the keywords. What are we wanting people to search on? What that would show us is if somebody's searching for, shipping container service near me, where we're showing up on the map for that. So I need the keywords to do that. Topical authority. So this is I didn't create this GPT, but I use it all the time. So let me just get this started. We talked about content ideas. These are content ideas that'll help us build topical authority for this specific business or this specific niche. The history of the Alabama Port Authority, role of Alabama Port Authority in trade, infrastructure of Alabama Port. And you can see here, now we have these are the main pillars. Then we have the sub-pillars. So if you look at, this is the history, these are sub-pillar pages in this history section. So what's the historic role of the Alabama port in the Civil War, if that was even a thing? I don't even know. Early trade partners of the Alabama port in the 20th century. So this is all really, really interesting stuff. Historical shipping routes, Alabama port in World War II. So you could take this, and I have yet another GPT, humanized SEO, optimized AI content creator. You can put in the topic, and it should. This is actually writing the content for you in a humanized way. AI is not perfect. It should have asked me for like how many words do you want it to be, etc. But we can feed it all that. So you can see this how easy it is. And it's too short. But you can see how easy it is. If you just throw this into ChatGPT, the bare bones ChatGPT, you're going to get some very AI sounding content. They're going to use the words like more ever, and they're going to do a lot of weird things. With my GPT, it really humanizes it a lot. So yeah, AI is not perfect, so it should have prompted us for something, so we can get into all that. So that just gives you an idea of how we can write some content pretty quickly. So clickbait ideas. So it goes back to the point of we need to create content and things that people are searching on to get traffic to the site. And traffic leads to more traffic. The more traffic you get, it'll lead to more traffic, and that more traffic will lead to more traffic. Now, this is kind of a weird thing because you're not really competing. You're not like a lawyer, an injury lawyer. You're not a restaurant, right? Like, you already have a core amount of traffic, and you have a very interesting Google Search Console chart that we'll look at in a little bit. But it's kind of a different beast in its own. So 10 shocking facts you didn't know about the port of mobile. And that might be a little too, like, buzzy for something like the Port Authority. But find out which massive ship just docked in Alabama Port. I think that's really cool. And this is kind of stuff that you could go on social media and get clicks. So I'm just showing you this is how you really get ideas and how to create content that people are actually going to click on because it sounds real interesting. And then you could either work with the client to write this stuff or use AI as much as possible to write it. Like obviously AI wouldn't know this, but let me find, maybe be able to write this. And then we would run it by the client to get approval. And they could just give us some notes, and then we could, whatever, scratch they give us, we could convert that using AI. This would be really good. Exclusive photos inside Alabama Port that you have to see. Like maybe they have a ship that came in with a bunch of drones or something really, really cool, right? Biggest ship ever to dock in Alabama. So this is stuff you just have to coordinate with the client on. Give this to them. Any of these sound interesting? Is there anybody we could work with to get some of these created? Maybe we could focus on doing one of these per month. One of these more like marketing kind of headline grabbing content pieces. We could do the more boring stuff on our own. Okay, moving along. That's an introduction to some of the AI tools that I've created and some of the AI tools that I use. Is there only one GVP entry? So this is kind of, not sure what to think about all this. I'm still kind of processing it. If you go to Google Business Profile, you can see they have a lot. So other cities, they have similar ones. Like, it makes sense to have one for the Port Authority and then another one for maybe like the police. Like that makes sense. But should we have a different one for the railway, for truck control? And look at these. These are two that look to be the exact same thing. So this at a minimum needs to be sorted out to find out why that is. And state docs, like what exactly is this? Is the state docs different than, like maybe just somebody came on board, as a search engine person and didn't know these others existed and just created state docs. So what is state docs? And it's hard for me to tell because if you go into it, there's not a lot here. Like there's no description of what this is. So I'm not going to go through each one of these one by one because it would add 30 minutes, maybe 15 minutes for each one of these. Minimum, bottom line is we need to at least sort out these duplicates, which is the right address. And we have to really consider, do we need the McDuffie terminal? Does it need to have its own Google Business Profile entry? And let's get into all this stuff. So spammy competitor listing, that's good. Basically, your competitors can spam keywords in their business title, and that'll help them rank. None of yours are doing it, so that's good. You are verified, no errors. Categories. So the categories aren't set up good. So if you look at, well, let's go back to one of them. I think these are the main ones, actually, I think. You go to Edit, Profile. You can see the category is currently not set. Previous was State Government Office. That's not good. Now, if you go to, now there's no local competitors, like there's no other port authorities. So I used other states. You can see the Google business categories they're using. Port Authority is what we want to use. Port, Harbor, Transportation Service, Government Office. So you can see this one's used the most by 8. So Port Authority looks like the category we want to use. Let's try and see what Texas has. See Port of Texas City, Port of Houston Authority, Texas Port Association. And we can look at these individually if we need to. So you can see it definitely looks like Port Authority. Maybe not Department of Transportation because that's a federal thing. But Port Authority, Port, Seaport. Would it be a railroad company? I don't even know. Probably not. Let's just try one more. Let's do MISS ISSIPPI Port. I think I spelled that wrong, but Google's super smart. Department of Transportation. Okay, so I need to investigate that. But definitely Port Authority, Harbor. What was the other one? I can't remember. City Government Office, whatever. So anyway, we need to get the categories right on all those after we just decide if we're going to have all those. And they might not even. Hold on one second. I gotta pause it real quick. Okay, so just trust me when I say that these profiles aren't filled out. I'll just show you one. I'm not going to keep clicking back and forth though. So edit profile, I just want to show you category, description's blank, opening date's blank, contact phone number, it's got changed. We need to find out what's going on there. The website, there's no website at all listed. This one wasn't approved, not approved, this one either, for some reason. And interesting, I didn't catch this. So we need to just basically go through these and verify. Whoops. Yeah, so it's whatever it is, it's bad. Let's see what this is. Whoops. Yeah, so it doesn't even exist. So just trust me when I say all that's wrong. Service areas. I'm not sure how to handle this because your service area is really the world, but primarily the United States. It's not really, you're serving people outside of Alabama. So what would we want the service areas to be? We would want to do just Alabama, or would we want to do the United States? How would we want to handle that? So that's something I need to research and figure out the best way to handle that. Hours, blah, 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 website URL is not good, product, services. So you need to go in, and for some reason services aren't showing up. Now, it might be because the category is not set, which I think it is. But if you go to, for example, edit services, wow, somebody spammed my services. I need to go back and, yeah, I'm actually in the process of creating a tool that there's no automated tool that checks, because anybody can add this stuff, which is completely insane. At least they can suggest and edit. And if somebody suggests that I do auto repair, it's going to get added to my list if I don't explicitly go out and remove it. So you can see here, services were changed based on feedback from Google users, blah, blah, blah. So I need to let me pause it real quick. Okay, so like I said, I'm actually working on a tool that'll go and have a Python script that runs, and anytime something changes, like what people do, what competitors do, is they'll come in here and they'll change your business name, or they'll change your phone number, or they'll move you on the map to like a different location. And it's totally shady, but that's what, unfortunately people do. So bottom line is, whatever your services are, whoops, they changed this interface a few months back and I do not like it. All this crap got added. These are the ones that I had. For any service you mention here, you need to have a corresponding landing page for it. So we need to further verify. When I say landing page, I mean service page. What am I doing? My website's going to be slow because I'm logged in. But you can see here our services, right? Those need to match, ideally. So it's another reason if you have 7 Google Business Profiles and each one of those have 5 services, that's 35 pages that need to be created. It's a lot of work. With images, ideally with videos, optimized, H1s, H2s, bullet points, etc. Okay, moving along. Appointment link, no. So that's attributes aren't set. Opening date, call tracking is not set up. Google Posts. So what you want to do so for example, I use Socialmonials. I use multiple tools, but I'll show you Socialmonials. I have like different tools for different things with different clients. But for this tool, I basically I create posts and I schedule them. So not only, you can see I get this scheduled. I basically do it once a week. Got a few coming up here. So I go in, spend a couple hours one day, and just schedule a bunch of posts out, right? Now there's always going to be things that you need to post that are like, something happened, like the port's closed due to a weather event or something like that. But this way you can kind of just set it and forget it. If you update your social media, if you update your Google Business Profile with a post, so the post in Google Business Profile is this stuff down here. Do people read these? No. But is it a sign? Is it a social signal? Yes. Is it a sign to Google that you care about your business? Yes. Is it a sign? Is it a signal to Google that you're keeping things up to date? Is it a signal to somebody that's researching your company that you know what you're doing and that you're keeping things up to date? Yes, it is. All this stuff's really important. So at a minimum, you'll have some generic posts. So for the Alabama Port Authority, like the best thing to do is like tips. So for me, it's like SEO tips and tricks, web performance tips and tricks. For them, it might just be interesting facts about Alabama, something like that, right? It's basically just to kind of it's a social signal thing. And it's nothing you want to do every day, but even if you do it like once a week, that's fine. Because they have a Twitter profile. Facebook is actually up to date. They have a Twitter profile. But they're not haven't posted in like a year and a half or something like that. So this way, you have one tool, and you post it once, and it goes to all of them, and you can schedule it all out. And with Google Business Profile, there's no native way to schedule things out. Okay. They don't have any photos. Just trust me, they don't have any videos. The social media links aren't sent. Users are good. You want to answer the questions, and you want to click on Know This Place and answer the questions. Okay, Screaming Frog. Everything's indexed. Mixed content is good. So let's go through this real quick. So Screaming Frog, and again, I could spend 2 hours doing just this. So this is the website. Response code. So basically we have broken links that need to be resolved. We have redirects, which aren't as critical, but, you know, it's not good when you have those fixed. Looks like everything is indexable. You'll see these non-indexable thing, but a lot of these are redirects here and tags and stuff like that. So it looked like everything that like admin pages, like this stuff shouldn't be in the Google. Google shouldn't be indexing admin pages, author pages, tags and stuff like that anyway. Okay, so that's a whole other thing. But it looks like everything that needs to be indexed is being indexed, which is good. So page titles, so the page titles are really bad. So page titles. I went to duplicate. So there's duplicate page titles, but let's see. What we could do is go to this. This is a quick way to get page titles. You can just copy. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just copy everything. It's not letting me copy this, okay, but we'll just do this for now. And you can go into ChatGPT. I actually like Gemini for doing a lot of SEO work. Give me 5 SEO optimized page titles for this page and paste it in. Or you can use Perplexity and it'll actually go look at the page and give you some ideas. Because right now, so Port of Mobile, your gateway to efficient North American trade, I think that's really good. And it gives you, I think Gemini does a better job at doing SEO stuff than ChatGPT, honestly. But any work is good work here. So if you look at their page title is just Home, Port of Mobile. Is that right, mobile? I keep getting it wrong. See, these pages don't mean anything. Aggregates. Aggregates for what? Like, what does that even mean? Like, if you go and look here, some of these page titles, look at this page title and search. Procurement. But what does that mean? Procurement what? General cargo. General cargo what? So procurement. So this should be something like, you know, Alabama Port of Authority procurement database. It's not a database, but you get the idea. It should be a lot more descriptive because procurement means a ton of different things. And these meta descriptions here, Google's going to set those if there's nothing there, and there's nothing set for like very few of any of them. And the ones that do have them are really bad. So like page 2, well, this is like, you don't want this stuff in the index anyway. But all the important stuff seems to not have meta descriptions. This one does. What is this? So this isn't even, and this one might be okay, but overwhelmingly, you're missing meta descriptions, and that needs to be looked at. So, okay, this is taking way too long. Redirects. Yeah, the URLs. Now, it's too late. You may not want to recreate the URLs now, but trust me when I say the URLs, you need to have the keyword basically in, let me make sure I get it all right, page title, meta description, image alt text, URL, open graph stuff, etc., etc. And the URLs are very generic too. They're not that good. Page titles. So the page title would be, well, I'm not going to get too much into that. We kind of went over that. Meta descriptions. You're not using meta keywords. You don't have any H1s. It's very important to have one H1 on every page. Most pages, at least all the pages I checked, don't have H1s at all. Links. We need to work on links. Canonicals look okay. Images. So it's a big problem because images, from an SEO point of view, aren't good. Just from an optimization point, it's not good. A lot of them have decent image names, like terminals, mobile, containers, but I would like that to be describe what it is better. ASPA warehouse, I guess that's pretty good, but These actually aren't bad. But here's the problem that I'm seeing. First of all, you shouldn't be using JPEG. You should be using WebP. And this image is 2.1 megs in itself. An average web page is 3 megs, okay? So this image is 66% the size of an average web page. And you can see it's on stewardship. So let's look at the image, first of all. So it's this, and you can imagine how much this is slowing page speed down. Was it this? I think it was this right here. Look how small it's displaying here. You don't need it to be, a giant image, so it needs to be really re-optimized. Does it load fast on my fast broadband connection at home, on a speedy Wi-Fi network, on a, decent laptop? Yes. But what about people who are, out in the middle, out in a more rural area and have a medium to low end phone? It's going to load slow. Why this is important? Well, also you want to have a site that loads quickly, because web page speed isn't only about your home page. It's about all your pages, right? And I have a video on how to determine that. Basically, you can go into Screaming Frog and put in your Google PageSpeed API, and it'll give you page speed scores for all of your pages in a column over here, and you can sort by slowest. So you can see, I mean, that might take a month in itself to get all that fixed, just the page speed stuff. We're talking about doing all of this in a month, less than a month. So you can see that can tend to get, it's a little crazy. So what a lot of people don't think about is how slow low-end phones load pages. Now, why this is important, if somebody tries to load a page, what we're learning based on, court documents and leaks that we're getting is user signals are like 80% of the algorithm, or at least I think it might have been 60%. So if a page is loading, you saw it loaded fast for me, but I'm on a pretty fast network. If a page tries to load and it just spins and spins and spins, and somebody clicks on the back button, that's a signal to Google that your web page does not satisfy the query that they search for in Google search. And I'm sure Bing does similar things. Okay, so you can see we got a lot more stuff. I'm gonna have to blow through a lot of this stuff. And we can hammer in on any of these more specifically. Basically, what this means is, if you have Google takes your entire website into account. If you have 100 pages that nobody goes to and they're filled with crappy content, and you have one piece of really, really good content, it doesn't matter how good that piece of content is. If the other content is not good, Google's not going to show that content because the rest of your website sucks. Okay, did the scan, everything came back good. Okay, don't worry about that. I'll do this later, content gap analysis. So these are just words, ranking opportunities, port of mobile, vessel schedule, that's something you do, mobile scouts. Showed up a lot, whatever that is. So these are things we could focus in on. I don't even know what that means, honestly, but I'll do this later, link intersect. So I think a powerful piece of content, if somebody's searching, trying to determine what type of, if they should do business with your port or Florida port or Texas port, let's do content on what is the Alabama port. This is the horrible wording, but Alabama port versus the Florida port. Why are ports better? So you could do that you could do that for all the ports in the country, and we get that from GPT. Like, where are all the major ports? Well, we're not going to do it in America. We could just do the top 10. Like, probably New York is probably one. I would guess Florida, Mississippi, and I have that list of competitors. So we could at least do those, and that we do one of those per month. Like, so this, you can imagine, that could go on for multiple years in itself, doing all those. But that's how you're going to get traffic to your website. That's something I definitely would look at. We're good. Ideally, want to have a YouTube video for each landing page. Is that going to fit for this client? Probably not. So this is another 2-hour discussion. Local so I just looked at your competitors. Like, they have board meeting minutes. They have a tariff. They have schedules. They have tariffs. So these are just, the website. The Alabama website may have it. I rush through it really quickly, but these are just things we need to think about. We need to constantly go look at what other port sites, port authority sites are doing well, and implement that on our website. And specifically, you can go into Ahrefs or whatever tool you're using, find out what their top traffic sites, web pages are, and then make sure we have those pages on our site. Let me put that here. Okay, so we went through site, colon all ports. You can see how bad these titles are, and meta descriptions are not really good. Oh, and you can see you have that your tags are indexed, which you don't want. That's going to kill your crawl budget. Tag. So we want to set all these to no index. Author pages, categories, all that stuff. No reason to have that indexed at all. Yeah, so that's that. We're at 35 minutes. Okay, hopefully it's going longer than I hope, but everything's indexed properly, it seems to be, except there's a few PDFs that aren't, so if those need to be indexed, it's something we need to look at. Good. We need to check your competitors' top pages, like I just said. And let's say the Port of Houston, if we look at Ahrefs and their top page is some fancy, port shipping container calculator or something, then we need to have that calculator on our page. And thankfully with AI, you can really create it'll create a lot of that code for you. Don't have to really hire a developer for a lot of stuff. Don't worry about this. Backlink profile. So there's just backlink ideas. We can get into that. Favicons good. 404 pages good. There is no sitemap. There is a sitemap, but there is no robots.txt. So the sitemap is where it should be. Alports sitemap. However, we need it to be, and you can see it's coming from all-in-one SEO plugin, which is fine. We need it robots.txt, which I know you guys mentioned, to have it listed in robots.txt. Not a huge deal. Google figures it out, but that's best practice. Think about this. Google, what they've told us is the more certain they are about an answer, the more likely you ought to show up in Google search results. So if you have a page style that really describes the page, and you definitely have robots.txt that lays out things perfectly, and you definitely have a sitemap, you're just making Google's can be more and more assured that they're presenting a good result. So all these little things add up. Service page performance. So some of the pages are performing slow, which will have to go up. Mobile friendly. It actually looks, there's a few minor things, but every page has a few minor things. Google doesn't have their mobile test checker anymore, but Bing has one. I used it. It came back as being mobile friendly. There's little minor issues to work on, I think. But I would definitely put something like InspectLint on it and do screen recording sessions. And I would want to see what people actually see when they're on the site, right? I have an agency license for different tools we can use to do this if you guys want to do it, but I usually do these and I look at them once a month. I want to see what people are saying, because what you'll find out a lot of times is things actually look broken to some people. And if things are broken and they're clicking the back button, that's going to hurt you from an SEO point of view. It's going to hurt you from a business point of view, from an SEO point of view. Yeah, I just went over this. So optimize blog content, EAT, expertise, authority, trust. So you versus them. So us versus Florida. An alternate to using why you'd want to use Alabama compared to the Florida port, and then top of the funnel content. And I went over the topical map earlier, and that topical map again is going to help us establish authority as a authoritative source for port authority, logistics kind of stuff. Okay, I don't even know what this is. I spend so much time I forget what I put here. Let's look. I thought this might be the... Okay, this is the topical map, so we went over that. Okay, let's get rid of a lot of these windows. Okay, I have an agency license for Solid WP. The site definitely has, I wouldn't call them security holes, but they're not following best practices with two-factor authentication, file integrity checking, blah, blah, blah. If you want me to install Secure WP and lock down the site, I can do that. But with a government client, thing can be a little weird because things would change. They would now have to log in with the security code and all that stuff. Even if you don't want that, I definitely would install a security product, and I can do full security audits, so we can talk about all that. Performance, so I looked at, I can show you where you're having, what's causing a lot of the performance, not a lot, some of the performance issues. So I don't even use PageSpeed Insights. Honestly, I use Web Page Test, because you get the core web vitals here. LCP, CLS, TBT. These are the three things that matter. That PageSpeed Insight score doesn't matter, and I sent, I keep forgetting the name, Satisha, I'm sorry, the video of why those scores don't matter, and the only thing is you have to explain that to the client. This is what matters. So largest contentful paint. So you can click on it, and you can see this is what's slowing it down, is this image here on the home page, right? Now, if you go down and look at the waterfall chart, you can see things load pretty quick. So under 400 milliseconds, so under a half second to just start. Then you're getting a lot of font stuff, and these are really good load times. You know, under a third of a second for a lot of these things is really good. Then it slows down here. Why is this taking so long? Because if you go down, so this is all the things that are loading on the website. If you go down and look at this, you can see the image, this right here, is 1.5 meg. The image here is 700K, 600K. So you certainly shouldn't have these as PNGs. So we're looking at 3 megs, let's see, 2 megs, 3 megs of PNG files. Only reason you should have a PNG is if it's a transparent PNG or maybe like a little click icon or something like that. So I have another video. I hate to keep saying this. Another video. We just need to convert this. I'll just do this real quick. Save as, and the image name is horrible. So, oh wait, is this WP? Is it converting to WP on the fly? Oh, PNG. Okay, so I don't know why. Okay, I don't know why it's going to WP. Anyway, this is the kind of stuff that's slowing the website down. Basically, I would take this, convert it to WP, to WebP, and that would wait, where was I at? Oh, the waterfall chart. You can see the website is 5 meg, I think it is. 5 meg. That'll get the website down to about 2 meg. So we're cutting the website down and not even doing anything. We're not modifying code. We're literally taking the image, converting it to WebP, compressing it a little bit, but it's going to look the same, resizing it a little bit, and we're going to cut it by about 3 meg. So we're going to overall cut it in half, and that's going to help with these scores tremendously. Because you saw that LCP is being affected by this top large image. Once that shrinks, that's going to change. I definitely would also, and again, I don't know what type of advice, what kind of, how open they are to stuff like this. I do not like sliders. Wait, is there a slider on the homepage? Right here. This is a lot of extra JavaScript, and if you go look at the research, it's like 3% of people actually look at sliders. It doesn't add extra value. It just slows website loading page speed down. So I would get rid of this slider, certainly. Doesn't add any value. People don't use them, and it annoys people. And it doesn't load fast for me, but again, I'm talking about it's affecting scores, which matter for the algorithm. Even though Core Web Vitals doesn't really matter that much, Google says this over and over again. It's not that big of a deal. As long as your page doesn't take 10 seconds to load, I wouldn't worry about it as much. But I would get rid of this because you're loading all of these images, and you're also loading the script to load all of that allows you to load all these images. So that's something I would get rid of, certainly. Okay, LinkedIn, they have LinkedIn. But this is where things might get a little tricky. If you go to their LinkedIn name, their LinkedIn page, it says Alabama Port Authority up here, which is good. But here it says Port of Mobile. And then on the site, Port of Mobile. So my point is, what we need to be more consistent. So on the Google Business Profile, if it says Port of Mobile here, Alabama Port Authority, that's what needs to be in the business name of the Google Business Profile as well. So in all these other directories, which I didn't check to save time, like Yelp, if you're in Yelp, all these other crazy directories, it just needs to be consistent across the board. Whatever we're using, it needs to be consistent. It goes back to the point of Google wants to make sure it's displaying information that's accurate. If one website says something, another website says something else, and another website says something else, you're getting dinged on that factor. TikTok, you're on TikTok. I don't know if you need to be on TikTok, but, you know, could maybe do behind the scenes at the Port Authority, like here's some interesting shipment stuff that's coming in. Now that's probably, you know, a regulatory nightmare. I don't know about all that. X, so Twitter. So you're on X, but nothing hasn't been updated in a few years, so it's something you want to do. Facebook actually looks good. It's been updated. So all you got to do is take what you're doing on Facebook and update it on Twitter too, using Socialmonials. Or you could use Buffer for free, which has a free plan that does that. Open Graph looks good. YouTube, totally outdated. Again, something you don't want to do. So the way, well, I'm not going to go look, but the way you can find out what videos to write, you could ask AI, first of all, Or you could just go to YouTube and type in Port Authority, and you can see other videos. Let's look at it real quick. Let's see if other port authorities have any like unique video ideas. Port Authority info, New York Port trailer. Okay, it's all new stuff. So yeah, I would ask AI, what are some good video ideas to, increase views for Alabama Port Authority? And you'll get some really, really good ideas. Other social. Okay, are you on Yelp? I don't know if you want to be on Yelp, but we need to optimize it. Low scan, you have all kinds of inconsistency. Address, all kinds of stuff's all out of whack. Same thing right there. This doesn't apply to you. So so we need to agree on what are the service pages going to be. And then SEO optimize them using my landing page. So going back to that builds that landing page, all the keywords and stuff. You can type yes at the end, and then it's actually going to build the page for you based on all of this stuff that it's done. So you can see here, now so if we were building a landing page for Alabama Port Authority, this is what you could use. Welcome to the Alabama Port Authority, gateway to the Gulf. This could be the H1. This could be a subsection, driving economic growth and connectivity for Alabama and beyond. And this would be the call to action. So this is a subsection. These are good key statistics. Container shipping. So if these are the primary service pages, these are the things we need to highlight on the home page. Do they offer all these? So these are questions we need to ask them, or you guys may know. Is all this true? If so, we would include it. Do they have this stuff? Do they have a deep water harbor? Like I don't remember seeing this. If they do have this, we need to create a service page for it. So you get the idea. They may not have that stuff, but this is the stuff we need to find out. We need to compile all this into questions to ask them if you guys don't know. This is just how to build a landing page. Use photos, use bullet points, use categories from Google Business Profile, use external links. Anytime in a blog post you mention one of your services, you need to link to that service. External links is your call to action above the fold. And like I mentioned earlier, the call to action should be more actionable, like contact us. Don't worry about keyword density. We need definitely mentions any awards, membership, certifications they got. That should be something to highlight on the homepage. I'm sure case studies, testimonials are always good. Socials on websites, so they have socials, but I didn't see them on the website anywhere. Phone number, top right and clickable. It's not. So the phone number should be always in the top right. That's where people look for it. And it should be clickable. So if they click it on their mobile phone, it can use it. They don't want to have to. You want to remove as many barriers as possible from people getting a hold of you. So you want to have it. You don't want them on a mobile phone to just see it and then have to go back and forth from the keyboard app to the phone number. Just make it clickable so it'll go on their homepage. And you also want it in the footer as well down here. I didn't even know if I had it. My website is actually not totally SEO optimized because I just haven't had time, to be honest with you. It's actually not bad, but it's not great. Okay. Address and footer. Don't worry about this. About us is good. So why? I think it's crucial to have a why us page. It's not really about us. It's why us. That's the point we need to get across. Is why us. Is crypto accepted? Again, government company. But the point is, you want to do things that set you apart. So I have a lot of like injury lawyer clients. They'll do giveaways. Like if you come have a session with us, we'll give you a free tablet. If you do a consultation with us, we get about like a $40 tablet. And then on that tablet, you put a lot of your branding and all that kind of stuff. And that works wonders. To an injury lawyer, $40 is nothing when you make thousands and thousands of dollars per case. Is that something you would do for a government business? Maybe not, but something just to think about. The point is you got to think about doing things that set you apart. So accept crypto, do a free giveaway, talk about why us. These are the kind of things you got to do to separate you from your competition. Stock images, you're not using a lot of stock images, which is good. Hours. Schema, so there's one thing that wasn't mentioned on your document. We need to implement schema, and that's not implemented there. Put the map on the website. That's something we need to do. So you're not going to do any of this stuff. Then we need to set up a Google Alert, get up Google Analytics set up, Google Search Consoles, I don't know why I did no on these. These are pretty good, but I guess it just means I need to dig in more. So it's not just Google Business Profile, it's Bing Places. And keep in mind, Alexa uses Bing Places. So that's that's Microsoft's thing. Also, ChatGPT uses Bing, right? And that's becoming more and more prominent. And ChatGPT has their new search engine coming out soon. So you can imagine Bing and Bing is going to be more important, I would think, in the coming years. Right now, I think Bing is like 10% of the search traffic, but I can see that increasing in the coming years. Get into Yahoo Local as well, Apple Maps. I would get into the international search engines, Baidu, Yandex, Russia. So you can see this is just all kinds of work. I mean, this stuff, just going through all this generally takes about 6 months. This is good. So these are just, I would do user Bob sessions to monitor how people are using the site. Same thing with Inspect and live chat. Do you want to have live chat? People love live chat because a lot of times people want to get a hold of the business, but they don't want to call somebody because they don't want to be stuck on a sales call. Live chat is great. Does it make sense for a government business? I don't know. All kinds of crazy regulations. And then we need to make sure we track results, right? I have a spreadsheet, and I go through it if you want, that I track results month to month, right? It's not pretty. And I also have rank tracking and all that kind of stuff set up. But I do manual checks every month. I check the performance at least once a month. I check different things once a month. So the schema once a month. So if something is broken, I'm at least going to know about it once per month. And if you're not tracking results month to month, you don't really know if what you're doing is working. And if what you're doing isn't working, if you don't know if what you're doing is working or not, then you're really just wasting your money. So that's just, I have a tracking spreadsheet we can use if you'd like. You might have your own way of doing it, and that's fine. I have a very tacky manual way, and then do that along with a WOPE, and I'll show you this. I don't have it open. WOPE rank tracker. You can track certain keywords, but it goes back to I need the keywords to take this up to the next level. So longer than I thought, 51 minutes. I'm not going to edit any of this. I'm just going to give it to you guys so you can watch it. And I hope this helps. So let me know what you think. Hopefully you can't know where I'm coming from nor now. What you think is realistic, not realistic. I definitely have concerns about the dates, but yeah, I don't know. So we'll see. Thanks.